Okay, today we're going to talk about the ultimate Gibson Les Paul comparison. Okay, this is a complete comparison. I've been playing Les Pauls my entire life. Um, from my second guitar ever was a Gibson Les Paul Studio Light, which I have shoved in that corner over there. It's all beat up and happy and fun and everything I love about it. But that's for another day. Um, I have to leave my fan on because it's just so disgustingly hot. I can't take it, and I don't have any air conditioning in this room, which would be even louder. So whatever. I'll try and make sure I speak up. If this cuts off my head, it cuts off the top of my head. Don't worry, I still have one. I still have hair, amazingly, at my advanced age, but I do. Okay, so we're gonna talk about the Les Paul. We're gonna show and talk about the Les Paul Tribute, Les Paul Studio, Les Paul Standard. I have a video on the Classic. I have a couple of videos on Les Paul Custom, but we're going to basically talk about everything. So, right off the bat, I want to go right from the Tribute. Okay? Tribute and Studio, we're going to talk about first. Okay? And the Studio I happen to have is the Smokehouse Burst. So, okay, in my opinion, this is a very simple decision on which one you're going to want. If it's me, I think there's an extreme value to having both, and I'm going to explain why. In fact, I'm going to start off why right now. My main reason for saying having both is a great idea is because it's insanely hot today. This is sticky, this is not. They sound exactly the same. You're getting with the Tribute, you get the tuners that I like more, but a lot of people do like the Grover button, the buttons more. I personally like the Clusin style, or the Clusins. I thought they were Clusin style, but maybe the Gibson Deluxe tuners, whatever. I'm a big fan. You have the same nut, same inlays. The same inlays all the way up. I mean, as soon as I do this, even when I get to the 60 standard, they're all acrylic. They're all plastic. Well, it is what it is. Um, I'm not even sure the custom shop has mother of pearl. Somebody correct me or not, but my custom shop, it didn't look like mother of pearl to me. It looked like every other acrylic. Anyway, same pickups, same hardware, different type of knobs, but same thing. This basically what you're getting with the Studio, and of course these are priced so perfectly in my opinion. Also same bag, same case candy. Okay, that nice black heavy duty Gibson bag, same case candy. Okay, anyway, I think this is a perfect example of a price point difference because these guitars are $400 apart. I'm pretty sure these are $13.99. These might be $12.99, and these might be $16.99. Prices change so much, so let's go with that. Let's say they're $400 apart. So for $400, what you're getting is you are getting a full nitro finish, which I do love. With a nice, full gloss nitro finish. Sorry, they're both nitro. This is nitro satin. This is nitro gloss. Anyway, this is just less layers. That's pretty much what it comes down to. And also with the Studio, you are getting the push-pull electronics, which I believe are just coil splits. Let's see here. I only remember there being two. Yes. So coil splits, which I have to quote the famous Lee Anderton, the captain. He said it correctly. In my opinion, he said it perfectly. If you want a guitar with single coils, get a guitar with single coils. And if you want one with humbuckers, get one with humbuckers. I personally have had a try. I don't find that coil splitting to be very useful personally. They just don't sound the same. So whatever. But as far as each one being a Les Paul, being an absolute great example of a Les Paul, these are it. This is if you're not looking to jump to that next price point, as far as like a standard or a classic, these are absolutely fantastic. And especially on the used market, I bought both of these. This is a 2023, and this is a 2022, late 2022. I normally don't always give away what I buy things for, but I bought the pair for the price of this one. So there are deals out there. You can make offers. People can say no. They can get mad at you. They can threaten to come kill you. They won't. But it does happen. So, oh, sorry. One other key difference that everyone's gonna probably screaming at me about right now is the maple neck versus mahogany neck. Some people say they can hear a difference. I've been playing guitar my entire life. I cannot. Um, but also I'm not a tone freak. I can make anything sound good. I'm a professional musician, and you give me something, you give me any guitar and any amp, and I'm gonna go out there and I'm gonna make it sound great because I know how to play. So that's my thoughts on that. I'm not on the endless search for tone. I'm just a gear addict. As far as yeah, silk screening is definitely exactly the same. These, of course, both go on the pleck machine. Anything that comes from Gibson gets, the frets get plecked, which is awesome. They're both perfect. They both feel great. Fret ends on both of these feel great. Look, that will change. Like, there are a lot of people who complain about, sharp ends on their Gibsons. It depends on what time of year you buy it. It really does. I'm sorry. In the cold, they're going to sprout. It's just going to happen. In the warm, they'll go back. And it just always happens. So, as far as the tribute and the studio, it really just comes down to, like, if you want that gloss finish or if you like a satin finish, because they sound exactly the same. I was just ripping on both of them, same strings, same setup for the last hour, and I can't hear a difference. So, they're both lighter. They're both definitely not as heavy, of course, as your traditional standard. They're both still heavy, but they're not insane. Now, I'm going to talk about what you're trying to accomplish is up to you. Okay, if it was me, if I had a low budget and I had to have a Les Paul, I would definitely just search and make as many offers as I can, especially in your local market. And of course, see the guitar in person, because there's a lot of people who tell you they have a guitar in mint condition, and it's not mint. It's far from mint. At best, it's good. I see that a lot. These guitars are mint. There's barely a breath mark on them. They're absolutely mint. I would 100% just between being if you're a beginner, I don't know. I think I'd go with the tribute, to be honest, just because you're gonna play a lot of stages. You're gonna play, if you're especially if you're trying to start gigging and you're starting to get your music career going, half the year, you're gonna have a bit of a problem with the Les Paul Studio. That finish, it does get sticky. It's silky smooth when your hands are nice and cold, and you're very comfortable and you're cold out. It's the most wonderful feeling finish. It really is. At the same time, though, like I said, I'm dying in here right now, and I don't even want to pick up the studio. I want to go right to the tribute. So, great. Now, I don't have a classic with me. We did a video on the classic, but we're going to talk about the classic and the standard. Actually, I'm sorry, we're going to skip. We're going to talk about the studio to the classic. Okay, now from the studio to the classic, if you're in that ballpark, I believe the classics are... I really should have done my pricing, but I thought they were $21.99. They have to be $21.99 because the satin version of these are $24.99 and these are $29.99. Okay, anyway, I'm pretty sure they're $2,200. So now you're going $16.99 to $22.99. Okay, so you are jumping up, another $600, but no, $500. But that, to me, that's where the jump really begins. Okay, so the studio to the classic is a definite win on the classic. Okay, the classic is basically offering you a standard with a plain top, which you have a plain top with the studio anyway. That's fine, but you're starting to get into that. You just sold your Kia, and you bought a used BMW. Okay, that's what you're starting to get to with the classic. Okay, you get the fret nibs. You get the nice binding and fret nibs, which I love. You get all the other binding, okay? You get uncovered pickups, which are fine. I mean, you could probably just put covers on there. And there's a lot of people who love the uncovered pickups and the Z, and everything like that. that's such a moot point to me. A moot point if you were gonna, if that was the deal breaker, then I would just get it and put pickup covers on it. Or if the deal breaker is the other way. So, uh, but at this point, this is where you start to get into where the guitar starts to really feel more like a standard. Okay, the classic feels a lot like a standard. It's a really, really, really good value. Um, I like the pickups a lot in the classic. The funniest part of all this is actually the 60 standard does have my least favorite pickups, just only because I'm trying to get a little more gain out of them, which I can't get out of these. They're geared to sound more like the 60s, and they have an incredible tone, um, especially in your blues rock, hard rock, classic rock. I have a little trouble really getting these things to pump, which I don't have a hard time with the four 490T and 490Rs. There's so many pickups out there with the tribute and the studio. Also, fun fact: the studio and the tribute and everything. Those Gibson 490R, 490Ts, or whatever they are. They're in my Gibson Lucille, okay, which is a very, very, very high end guitar. I mean, it should be custom shop, but it's not. Anyway, so those are the pickups he preferred. They are great. They're very versatile. I don't feel these are as versatile. These are, I believe, are a variation of Burstbucker 1 and 2s or 2 and 3s, but they're 60s style Burstbuckers. Again, they sound great. They don't pump. I really can't get them to shred like I can the 490R pickups, 490RT, whatever, 490 pickups. But now what you're starting to get to between a classic and a standard, okay? Again, you get everything that there is here. You get the same case. You get the same case candy. You get all the bells and whistles. You're really just losing the flame top and the pickup covers. Okay, that's really all you're losing, in my opinion. Actually, no, I think that's a fact. Not in my opinion. I'm pretty sure that's a fact. That those are the only two things that you're losing. If someone else knows something that I'm missing here, but please comment. But yeah, I'm 100% sure that's all that you're missing. I love this. The fret nibs, the lacquer, the craftsmanship starts to get. When you get to a standard, you start to understand. You know what I mean? Like, this is the standard that all Les Pauls are supposed to be held to. I don't know if that's a true fact, but that's what I believe. Les Paul standard is what all Les Pauls are the standard they're supposed to be held up to. So, the classic and the standard, and if that's the budget that you're in, you go with the classic. Period. You go with the classic. I don't think the flame top is important enough. And honestly, these aren't. I do have a pretty good flame on my unburst. Okay, considering I believe these are supposed to only be double A, because now you can pay more for the triple A. I don't know. It's pretty flamey. The one that I had gotten. So all right. So I'm happy with that. But if it was a plain top, I really wouldn't care. I mean, I'm not. It's like Sunburst. Aren't you getting a little bored of Sunburst? And aren't you getting a little bored of how much flame can be in a flame top? I kind of am, to be honest with you. So, it's not my obsession anymore to have this super flame top or the traditional Sunburst. I've seen it so many times. I'm a little bored of it. So anyway, again, you get the same case, the classic brown case, and which I love. One of my favorite cases of all times. Every time I see one of these brown Gibson cases, it makes me happy. I am happy they moved off the brown gig bag. It didn't work. It was a cool idea, but it really wasn't the same. So, between the classic and the standard, 100%, you go with the classic, unless you're starting to hit that point where you just want to finance something. You want it to be the one. You don't want to sit there and go, I really wish I had a flame top. Why didn't I pull that trigger? If you're trying to buy used and you've saved up all your money and the only amount of money that you have is, let's say, $1,200 to $1,400, and that's the best you're gonna do, you can fight, in your local market and get them. You can get them easily. You can get a classic in that price point easily. I think I paid $1,100 for my last one and sold it for $1,300. It wasn't anything crazy. You know what I mean? Like, They're out there. They do exist. The fight to get the standard, I think that's just when you should be comfortable in a position where you haven't saved up your last dollar. You know you have a, let's say you have a studio, and you know you really want to have a standard, and you're more, you know, let's say you're more established and you're not maybe a starving musician or living off just gigs or all those fun things that come with the musician lifestyle. You know you've got a steady job and decent bills. You know, wait for a 48 month to pop up, and you know, I would just finance one of these for the whatever that's going to be at 48 months. I don't know, $70 a month. You know what I mean? Like, why not? You know, you got a good job, you don't have anything to worry about, especially if you have a couple of guitars that you can sell. That's the way I didn't start financing stuff until I said, okay, if I lose my job and I can't pay my mortgage, blah, 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 those kinds of things. Okay, I have 6 guitars. I want this one. I might have to give up 3 to keep this one if I need the money fast, or I'll get to keep it and then I'll finance another and blah, blah, blah. So, anyway, just my little rant on being responsible there. That's also how you get to way too many guitars, which I'm still not there yet. I have some. Way too many? I'd like to see what way too many looks like. So, now the part of the video where I think everyone's going to scream at me, and I think I'm going to get screamed at heavily. Standard versus custom shop. I pick standard. I pick it all day. I pick it all day long. I've keep getting these custom shop Gibsons, like 50 R6s, R8s, R9s, ROs, and I've played them all. And there's something about Gibson Custom that I just don't like. It's something I don't like. It doesn't. I don't find them worth it. I just don't find them worth the price at all. You find a good deal, a really good deal on a local market on a used one of these, or even just pay the full $3,000. $3,000 for this versus whatever they are, $6,000. You know, for most of to start with most of the Gibson Custom Shop Les Paul, you know, whatever they are, 55 and up. I am not seeing a $2,500 difference. Just to have a COA, that's the only thing I'm seeing. And I love Gibson guitars. Everybody knows that. Anybody who watches my channel, I'm a huge fan of Gibson guitars. And I love them. And I want to support them, but I have not personally found a reason to go custom shop. I had the R6. I had it. I'm sitting there going, I shouldn't let this go. It's a custom shop. I shouldn't let this go. It's a custom shop. In the end, it just came down to the fact that it just had a COA. Otherwise, I really couldn't find any differences. The 50 style wiring and the bumblebee capacitors and everything like that. Again, I'm just not a tone freak like that. I'm not sitting there like, you know, I've seen, you know, people who do this, and I'm not against you. There's nothing wrong with that. Like, I was selling an acoustic to a guy, and he had he had like 12 or 15 guitars, and he's sitting there and he's playing with it for like an hour. We meet up, and he's in every part of it. We met in a parking lot, so he's like sitting in his trunk, and he's sitting in his front seat, and he's moving all around, and he's trying desperately to see if that tone was the tone he had to have, or if it was a tone he could pass on. And I just was kind of like, I'm just not that person. Like, I see something, I see the price, I see the condition, and I buy it. It has to sound horrible, or there has to be something wrong with it for me not to just, I don't know, like I have no problem adjusting to what the instrument is supposed to be. I'm not looking for the magical one, you know? I personally don't know if that's really out there, so I think you just end up going down a rabbit hole of the endless quest for the perfect tone, and I don't think that'll ever exist. There's too many options. I think of how many different pickup combinations I could swap in and out of this guitar for the next 10 years on my quest for the perfect tone. It doesn't exist in my opinion. So I don't really have a want for custom shops, so that's fine with me. I think the absolute best guitar that Gibson makes, period, is a Gibson 335. You know, that will always be my absolute favorite Gibson guitar of all time, and I have no problem admitting that. So hopefully this helps you in whatever you're looking for. If you're looking for a Gibson Les Paul, I mean, those are really going to be That's the scale. You can easily find a tribute somewhere. You know, I wouldn't pay more. I got two really great deals, but if you want a personal price guide on what I would pay cash in hand to somebody, I mean, reverb's different. You have to pay shipping, you have to pay tax. Okay, but if you're looking for cash in hand on a tribute, I wouldn't pay more than 750. On a studio, I wouldn't pay more than 950. On a classic, I wouldn't pay more than 1350. And on a standard, I wouldn't pay more than 1750. Okay, those are my prices, and I know you're gonna think that's crazy, but those are my prices, and that's what if I'm buying used. That's where I land on my here's my hard-earned money outright. Because otherwise, once you get to $2,000, and once you're willing to put out $2,000, put down $2,000. They'll let you finance the other grand. I mean, get it brand new because you people they go. Everybody wants to tinker with things. You don't know if they're going in and trying to shave down the nut, that they made a mistake. Now they're selling it off to you. You have to try and figure these things out when you're trying to buy a guitar in a parking lot or at a Walmart or a Taco Bell, and you don't notice. Oh, I can't believe there was this little finish split under the pick guard. I can't believe I didn't realize that he raised the action just enough so that now when I lower it, all of a sudden he went in and cut the nut. He went in and took off the tuners and put the tuners back on. He went in and soldered up a connection in your control panel. I mean, there's just so many things that people do. Maybe he put different pickups in and and then put the standard ones back in and then it's selling to you. It's mint. It's never been touched. It's not, These things happen. They happen a lot, and I catch them all the time. So for me, those are my prices on what I'm paying used, and those are the only prices that I'm going to pay. If you don't want to take my money, someone else will. That's a guarantee. Somebody will take your money. Otherwise, go new at that point. Just put that money down and finance the rest. Almost anybody will approve you for that amount. So, yeah, that's the video. No playing today. I just really wanted to talk about the Gibson Les Paul and the variations and what they have to offer for you. And if I had to pick the best valued one, it's going to be the Classic. The Classic is the absolute 100% absolute best value, period. I won't even put up an argument against the Standard. You're right there. All you're missing is the flame top at that point, which I could live without personally. So, anyway, that's the video. Thanks, everybody.